皆さんこんにちは。つねチャンネルのつねちゃんです。前回吸血鬼と化したウィリアム・ビショップを倒して彼の被害者となってしまったハンプトンさんを助けました。さらにウィリアム・ビショップの血のサンプルを取得して、スウォンジー医師とともにペンブローク病院で、働くことになりました。今回はこの辺りから皆様と一緒に楽しんでいこうと思います。それではよろしくお願いいたします。早速、スウォンジー医師、こちらに話しかけてみましょう。なるほど。後で、彼の、オフィスで話をしたいということでしたので、早速こっちに行ってみましょうけど、なんか喧嘩してますね。あ、なんだろうこれは。ああ。どういうことだ。今なんか刺し殺してましたよね。
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
Alright, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
血のクオリティですね。血のクオリティは、どのくらい XP の値を、取得できるかが決まるっていうことですね。で、ブラッドクオリティが高ければ高いほど、たくさん経験値が入るっていうことですね。で、こちらのクレイコックスっていう人のブラッドクオリティが500なので、真ん中よりはちょっと少ないぐらいですかね。なのであんまり経験値としては入らないっていう感じですかね。で、これは何だろう、誘導するとかそういう感じですかね。その催眠術的なもので誘導するかどうかっていうことですかね。で、血を、飲むかどうかっていうのを、決めることができるんですけれども、左上にレベルがあると思うんですけど、こうやって催眠みたいな感じなんですかね。で、これで操れるようになるみたいですね。で A で、血を飲むかどうか、B で解放するかどうかが決まるようです。で、これは基本的に人気のないところに、連れ込むっていうとあれですけど、そんな感じのところへ、運んでいく感じですね。で、ただ、ここで血を飲んでしまうとヒントだったりとかが、この人から聞くことができなくなってしまうので、これは結構悩みどころですね。ちょっとじゃあ解放してみましょうか。
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
話しかけれるかな。じゃあ早速話しかけてみましょうか。
Whoa, I feel giddy.
なるほど。ひとまず、会話のダイアログ的なものは出てこなかったんですけれども、後々なんかヒントかなんかくれるんですかね。 まあ多分ちょっとブラッドクオリティがまあ怪我してるんで低いのかもしれませんけれども。
What happened? Did I black out?
あ、なるほど。なんか気絶したような感覚になるみたいですね。このジョナサン主人公ですねが操るってことになると。
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go, but no famished hunter can run for long.
で、こちらがペンブローク病院ですねの入り口みたいですね。
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Oh.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
すごいですね。もう個室が与えられてるみたいですね。ちょっとじゃあいくつか質問聞いていきましょう。
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
ショック状態ってことですね。
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
どうしましょう。
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
これはなんか2階って言ってたんですけど、ちょっともう1回聞いてみますか。
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
より詳しく説明してくれ
Thank
ま
you,
したね。
Nurse Crane.
2階の階段上がって左に行って、廊下の突き当たりって言ってましたかね。結構人いますね。ちょっと片っ端から話しかけてみましょうか。
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before
Yeah.
at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
これもなんかヒントがいるみたいですね、この2つは。なるほど。多分誰かの会話を聞いたりして、コクランっていう人ですかねの話を聞いたりとかすると、この辺が解放されるようですね。
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
なるほど、こうやって聞くんですね。でこの辺で人と人とのリンクがされていってっていう感じですね。でまだお会いしてないのでちょっとシルエットだけみたいですけれども、いいですね。なるほどなるほど。で前回ぐらいまでですかね、別のディストリクトっていう地区ですかねにいたんですけれども、今回はまたこっちはこのペンブローク病院ですねは、別のディストリクト、地区っぽいので、また項目っていうんですかね、ここが分かれているっていう感じですね。
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office down again.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
ティペッツって言ってましたね。全然発音が違いますね。
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them? Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
またこちら情報が入りましたね。あ、これあれですかね。もしかして人を知れば知るほどブラッドクオリティが上がるってことですかね。ちょっとまだわかんないですけれども。スピークアップってこれ。
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
これさっきあれですね。医師の方から情報をもらったからここが解放されてるってことですね。
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
これシステム的に本当面白いですね。会話のシステムというか、やっぱりたくさんの人に話しかけないとヒントだったりとかがなかなかもらえないというか発見できないってことですね。スモールボトルですね。じゃあちょっと中に入ってみましょうか。病院の中へ。もう外にいる人たちはこのぐらいのですかね。これは求人の広告ですね、病院の。
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
この人は患者ですかね。
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of pustulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover to hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
市民を操作するのが、操作するのができるようになったということですね。ディストリクト、地区ごとに、調査できるということですね。この人に対して誰か、スパイ的な監視行為ですかねをしているようなんですが、その人を見つけましょうってことですかね。多分思い込みなんでしょうけれども。なるほど。
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft?I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
Oh, it's such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
なるほど。
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
いろんな人がいますね。これもあれですね。看護師を必要としているってことですね。広告ですね。
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks, and I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest, and then I can go back to the people who need me.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.